Yeah. So I think, if you play the clip, was where they got the highlights is sort of right at the end here. We've already given up the ball, and it goes on the breakaway. So just let it play, and you'll see what happens, and then I'll set the stage.
It's a cheap giveaway. Heel.
Cheap giveaway.
Full out sprint. And he's going to take the shot off the bar.
So he runs 40 yards.
Okay,
you can pause it. So he runs 40 yards with Almada chasing him the whole time. But here's the damning thing, right? So Almada gave up the ball, and he chases him down and does at least a decent job putting a little under pressure. But he gives up the ball, and that guy runs 40 yards, never makes a move, never does anything straight through. And none of the defenders are even in the picture.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a problem, right? So that's what I'm saying. Now, I'm going to show you. Do you have the photo? Can you pull up the photo that I have?
Sure.
Thank goodness we have Carmen back. It's so much more relaxing day. I was so stressed out, Carmen, last week.
The other one.
Yeah. Trying to figure it all out. This is so nice.
Okay, awesome. This is beautiful. This is way better. So
I know, right? It's all coming together.
But you guys can thank Carmen for the better clip. So what I have it is I took a picture of the television, right? And I paused it right at the moment before that, right? So what's happened here is that's Purata on the ball, right? And actually, it looks like we have three back in the middle, three in the back, but it's Sosa who's dropped in between the back two. And as you can see, he's taken off up the field because Purata has the ball, right? And so he's like, oh, we're trying to split the lines. I'm going to go up the field. We're not going to lose it here, right? So basically, it's the situation we're talking about. Purata's under slight pressure, but he's not really under pressure. He's going to play forward. And Almada is checking back to the ball, right? And he's in a fair amount of space, but New England is very organized. And so what's going to happen here is that as soon as Purata plays the ball into Almada's going to be under pressure from three players.
And so Almada is at the top of the screen in this image?
He's the one. There's one guy who's all the way out on the touchline. That's actually Hernandez, who's standing literally on the touchline. You can hardly see him.
It looks like he's going to sub in, right?
Yeah,
but no, in front of him's Almada.
That's our right back in a shambolic
But in front of him's
position,
Almada,
right?
which Purata's looking straight at him is going to play to.
And you can't actually see, there's a little glare, but there's two New England players who are running straight at Almada.
Okay, but here's where I'm already just going to say, sorry, this is my whole point. Like, Almada absolutely should never lose the ball from a pass that's being played by Purata to him. And it doesn't mean that there's not but I'm just saying, like, statistically, that shouldn't happen because you shouldn't lose the ball there. Like, that should not happen as a pro player.
Okay.
Because you are putting your team at risk no matter what. If you can't.
And he doesn't really lose the ball. What he does is so what happens is they play it to him. He traps it beautifully. But those two guys from New England come up and pressure him right on the back. And the forward actually drops back, and they get three guys around the ball, right? And so when that happens, he actually makes a beautiful touch. He dribbles out of it a little bit. And then he tries to beat both defenders with a little slip ball.
You're right, I remember that.
And he makes a bad pass, and he turns it over.
Yeah.
Right. So he doesn't lose the ball, but he's trying to create something. And my point is, if he creates that, let's say he makes a brilliant move, which he usually does, and he creates that. And I think he actually, to be honest, he tries to play Sosa coming out of the back, playing through. But let's say he slips Sosa in and we break that line. Right? That's really good for us because we now have Sosa running in space and they have all the backs. But they still have their four backs. They have their defensive midfielder back, right? It's not like it created a situation where we're definitely going to get a chance.
So can I ask you, just looking this still, I don't know do you remember what happens next with Hernandez?
Hernandez is out there the whole time. He hardly moves.
Hardly moves, right? Which... Is that the problem, though? Like, if we are a defensive-minded team, right?
Yes.
And you say, hey, anytime Almada gets the ball, let him be creative, and you always check back into a more defensive position. If that is the coaching remit, then Hernandez should be moving back immediately as Purata makes that pass to cover any sort of counterattack could happen if a skilled player like Almada loses it, trying to take somebody on creatively. Because that's what we want. That's exactly what we're saying. We actually want Almada in this exact situation to be able to turn, take people on if Hernandez is back. If
want
Gutman is
Hernandez back.
Because who's on the front of the screen here on the the left back type of position here?
Franco's looking like the left back, and you can't even see Gutman. He's so far up the field. He's actually cut off.
Who's that in the dead center back? Is that Sosa?
Sosa's dead in the center back. Yeah.
Why is that happening?
He's dropped in between the back two, which is what their solution is, so that we don't have two in the back. Right, he's had this all season. Right, he's had the center back either dropping.
So, but this is highlighting. This is highlighting exactly what we've been talking about. So, why if you could say that Hernandez is too far up here if Gutman's up at equal position,
he's
right?
Equal, basically.
We're saying only let one of them go up, and in this case, again, we've got two up. And now that's forcing Sosa back.
I would argue you should have zero up in this case because if you're playing out of the back and Purata has the ball.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I think Hernandez has to be up wide a little bit to open the space for Almada. But Gutman should certainly not be up. He should be back so Sosa can be up, and then everything shifts more to the central mid.
This is what I was talking to you about. Instead of playing Almada there, they're skipping a pass. So if Hernandez was back 20 yards or whatever, basically standing right at midfield. Then Purata plays him a very easy ball.
Right.
He gets to lick his head up, and now we're playing from there into Almada.
Yeah.
If that pass gets intercepted, Purata's still back right in the middle. We don't give up a breakaway.
Yeah.
Right? It's just stupid, right? It's stupid on so many levels. And in the Premier League, you don't see it because normally there's an outside back he plays to.
Right.
Right? And there's no gap like that. You also wouldn't have Franco so wide like that, right? I mean, it's a crazy aggressive formation from here, right? They are hyper aggressive right here. And my point is, right? So look at the start of the play, right? Is Hernandez at right back or is Gutman actually helping you at all?
No.
Can he play either of those players?
No, and in fact, right, I mean, I'm assuming I don't know what Araujo's over there somewhere. Why would you need Gutman over there?
So his only option is to try and force a split the lines ball, which is what we were talking about. And when you're playing that into there, that's what they want. They want Purata to play into there where they can now pressure Almada with three guys and hope that he makes a mistake.
I appreciate that we're bringing up the same points of the outside backs, but I think this is very different than the last play where we were really talking more of like a long ball or a longer breaking of the lines. Probably breaking two lines is what I think could have happened in the last one we were analyzing.
Yeah.
This is basic ticky-tack soccer that, to your point, why not play just wide to Hernandez, play it into Almada, and then off to the races? It's a little more compact, a little more safe on any sort of a counter.
We get nothing offensively out of this. If as I said to you last week, if I'm the New England coach, I'm drooling at this scenario because I'm like, good luck. Go ahead and try to play into our totally set up, organized defense. You're going to have to, even if you make it a brilliant play, right, we're still fine defensively. And if you make a mistake here, we're going to get a breakaway or ram it down your throat.
But even just to for the watchers that see this on YouTube, imagine a world where Gutman is back. That's, I think, the most important takeaway, right? Even if you just simplify it to that, Dave.
Gutman is back and Hernandez is much further back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a whole shift that kind of...
Then Sosa doesn't have to do this madness about running in between our own two backs, right? Sosa would be up the field.
And then,
right? And if Sosa's up the field, then now there's no way for them to run through our middle at all.
Right. And then, Almada's making that run from a little deeper back, which makes that an option and or out wide to Hernandez again.
And granted, most of the time when you try to build out of the back like this, as I was saying to you, like this is not how you score goals in modern soccer. It doesn't happen very often where you start with your center backs, they have all 11 behind the ball, and you break them down and score. It happens, and you still want to break those lines because the reason you want to break the lines here is not necessarily to score. I mean, yes, of course you want to score, but that happens so rarely. The reason you want to break the lines in this kind of scenario is so now you can turn the tables on them, force them to make a bad mistake and give it to you in a good spot. But the problem with Atlanta United is we never do that. Ever. And the reason why we can't do that is you're seeing it right here, right? Gutman and Hernandez are so far up the field, we can't press anything when we lose the ball.
Yeah.
Right? And for what? They are not offering us an option until... I think what Pineda would say is, well, we got what we want. We can play to Almada, and now when Almada gets the split line ball, he gets a turn, and now he has a secondary option. But when he does that, I'll tell you what happens. right? So let's say we played Almada and he makes a brilliant turn and he's able to play a 40-yard ball across to Gutman, who's presumably wide open, right? The problem is two problems, right? One is that he's actually really the biggest problem is he's just standing, right? Has no momentum. So by the time he collects the ball, turns it up the field and tries to go, the whole defense shifts over. Yeah. And all of that, yes, it's better than us losing the ball here, but all of that didn't create anything for us. It doesn't help us offensively at all, right? And so what you'd rather have here is if Gutman was all the way at left back, right? And he's able to play into Almada like he is. And now Almada gets his head up and he can play across to Gutman. Gutman's now running into space. And now Gutman can actually push the ball beyond that line, and he's broken the line on a dribble. Now one of the backs has to step up to address him, and now we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Right? But right now, if we cross it to Gutman, he's not going to break the line anyway because he's standing, and there's no way anybody is fast enough to trap the ball, move it. Maybe Araujo, but he's not Gutman, right? I think this is to distill down the essence of what's awful about Atlanta United. Yeah. And we were talking about it, and I said, we get nothing out of it offensively, and we're risking giving up a breakaway. And as you saw here, we give up the ball, and what happens, Carmen?
They almost score.
Yeah.
Hits
They
the post.
should have
scored. We got